Good evening everyone and welcome to TTML. We are here for Division 2 action. It is round 5 of the championship as we take in the French Grand Prix from Le Circuit Paul Ricard. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream. Mike Edwards is alongside me in the commentary box as always. He's just had to nip off for 2 seconds. He'll be back very shortly indeed. And we hope to have some great racing, of course, out on track tonight. You may have noticed that our budget has been cut slightly here tonight. No Tom on the graphics. He's got work commitments, sadly. Work, of course, comes first. And we wish him well, of course. I'm sure he'll be watching on later on when this race is fully uploaded onto the YouTube channel for League Racing TV. But as I say, we are here in France, and to run you through what happened last time out, it was Gary who took the win in Azerbaijan, in that very famous Azerbaijani Grand Prix. Gary won from Seb in second, Mashiro finishing in third. What did that do to the standings? Well, Mashiro leads the way on 97 points, from AJ in second on 80, Gary in third on 75, Zvedema fourth on 68, with Seb in fifth on 67. They're a little bit clear with Matt Tibos in sixth on 49 points, with J. Cole in seventh on 47, Sway in eighth on 46, Bolakongan in ninth on 43, and Tionis in 10th on 42 points. And I believe I hear a little breath coming into play in the background. I believe Mike Edwards is alongside me now.
Yes, hello, and how is everyone doing in the stream? I hope you're all looking forward to what should be a fantastic race here at France.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I was just reading through the driver's standings. Mashiro out on top on 97, AJ second, 80, Gary in third, who took the win last time out, on 75 points. Looking between the top 5, it's 30 points separating the top 5 out on track. Now, by my calculations, that is a race win, possibly, that Seb could pick up. And if everybody else falls by the wayside here in France, Seb could be in a good position. All 5 of them, I think, could be in a good position to really pick up a good points haul here tonight. But we are at France. We are at the Circuit Paul Ricard. Just how difficult is this for a track, especially in qualifying, to get a grip of?
This track, in my own personal experience, has been very difficult for me to get a hold of, but I'm sure these guys out here today won't have such a difficult time. I think just making sure you don't invalidate your lap in turns 1 and 2 is going to be crucial, because getting the entry into 1 to open up turn 2 can be a nightmare.
Can be a nightmare, and there's plenty of pinch points, I think, out on track as well, for both overtakes and for invalidations as well, especially in qualifying. Going through turn 10, I've noticed there are quite a few drivers that tend to run out a little bit wide. It does pick up the invalidation on the inside of the apex as well at turn 10. Can be a little bit of a pinch point as well. Looking through the rest of the standings as well, Corboy in 11th on 30 points, Adamako and Ryan tied in 12th on 25, Alonso in 14th on 22. He needs to really up his game, I think. Really one of the paciest drivers. He's down in the bottom half of the grid. Nathan in 15th, with Parody as well on 20 points, Trippy Jeff in 17th on 18. Rostro not attending here tonight. I'll come on to his replacement in just a second, on 17 points. James in 19th on 16, and F1 AMG in 20th on 11 points. Very interesting, I think. It looks like we've got a full grid already, which I'm very glad to report indeed. Somebody has just left, however, but we should have a full grid here tonight in Division 2. And, as I say, we're at France. Run through the constructor standings. McLaren and Mercedes are tied on points in the constructor standings on 146 points. It's crucial, I think. AJ and Seb obviously representing Mercedes. Mashiro and his teammate being whoever's going to take
Matt Tibos.
Matt Tibos, yeah, thank you for correcting me there. Totally forgot who he was alongside. But Mashiro and Matt Tibos, both of these teams, I think, are so consistent. They're just running alongside each other. But for tonight, who do you think for the constructors might come out on top, McLaren or Mercedes?
I think we may see the Mercedes just pinch ahead, I think. Because in recent races, AJ's been showing some fantastic form. Seb, he has been consistently on it towards the top end as well. I think we could see the Mercedes just take the lead in the constructors, and possibly AJ take the lead in the drivers if he gets a good enough race versus Mashiro.
Yeah, AJ does tend to do very well in qualifying. Now, I've been having a look at some of the lap times that these guys have been doing. 27.4s, I think, might be on the cards for some of these guys out on track now. I believe we've got a 27.1 or a 27.2 for pole position. So if that's the case, we could be on, that could be a pole position lap right there around here at France. It's going to be very difficult, I think, to see. And it's going to be very close, I think, as well, to see how these guys are going to get on. Looking at the track in question as well, as we are readying up now within the lobby. 5.8 kilometres in length, 157.7 kilometres race distance, just over 98 miles by 1,000th of a mile, essentially. Looking at how difficult this track is to drive, for you coming into qualifying, how do you go about it in terms of the setup? Because I think this is primarily an aerodynamic track where you've got to get the balance right.
Yeah, this track, the setup is going to be key here, because not only have you got the twisty bits of sector 1 from turn 1, and you got that lovely little turn 3, 4 and 5 complex at the end of the sector, but you also need enough downforce to open up turn 6 and 7 to get the best run onto the straight down towards the chicane, and then of course you need that downforce in the final sector as well, which can also be very tricky to hook up. For me, it's going to be all about getting a lap on the board first things first. Like, you got to get a lap on the board early as possible. You don't want to be picking up too many invalidations early on.
Yeah, with Mike's thoughts being said then, we make our way into qualifying here, and the first thing that we're going to see, of course, is what is the weather going to do out on track here in qualifying. We have got a new feature to show you as well as what we did on Tuesday. The new penalty system, of course, that's been updated. We can show you, and looking at it, it looks quite overcast, to be honest, here in France tonight. Very different to what we saw on Tuesday. Full dry conditions in both qualifying and indeed the race. Qualifying, it turned a little bit wet towards the final 5 minutes. And these especially around this track, would drivers aim to go for, set a medium compound of tyres first, get a lap on the boards, and then go on to set a softs to improve? Because I think with these cloud conditions, the softs aren't really going to operate at their temperature that they would like.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because looking at the people in the pit lane right now, we got Cam, Adamaco and J. Cole on the set of the mediums right now, so maybe that's indicating this. We got the first 3-4 cars coming out of the pit lane now, led by Volakongan.
Yeah, Volakongan does like to come first, coming out of the pit lane. I've got to be honest, I think it must have been quite a few times so far this season that Volakongan has done this. Division 3, by the way, if you want to whet your appetite even more, is live as well. Aidan Carter and Conti taking you through that one, and I can reveal that we've been working behind the scenes here at TTML for next season already to provide you with the best commentary possible, and announcements about that I'm sure will come in the next few weeks or so, especially towards the end of the season. But Volakongan is there on an outlap. Already took out a bollard coming through turn 4, so he's going to hook up that point of the track right, but then running up towards turn 10. There's 2 DRS points out on track as well. One down the start-finish straight, one down the first half of the Mistral straight as well. How good could that be possibly for overtaking? Because I tend to seem like France is a bit of a DRS track.
It can be a bit of a DRS train track, but I think if you get a good enough run out of turn 6 and really open up turn 7, you can try and make that move into the chicane at turn 8, as we got Volakonga now about to start his first flying lap, so we'll go on board with him as he gets a lovely exit out of the final corner. DRS wide open, and we'll see what Volakonga can do now on the run down into this first corner.
Yeah, Volakongan down in towards turn 1, braking just before the 50-metre ball. Going to hook up the first 2 corners, and that is how you take turn 2 very nicely indeed. And Volakongan then on the run down towards turn 3, as there's yellow flag in sector 3. That's just drivers preparing for their lap. Volakongan towards the end of the first sector. Let's see what he's going to look like in terms of the first sector. 22 flat through the first sector. Now, we saw in Division 1 that these guys were sending 21.7s through there. So Volakongan there or thereabouts. On to the Mistral straight, down in towards the chicane north through turn 7 there, and then on the run towards 8 and 9, and Volokongan reaching in excess of 200 mile an hour as he brakes just after the 100 metre board, turns into the chicane node, coming through turns 9 and then up the hill towards turn 10, this flat out right-hander which you can catch and you can spin if you're close enough. 49.1 from Volokongan through the middle sector, looking very good and very clean so far on his lap as we see the Haas fly through turn 10 and then through this tricky 180 degree right-hander through turn 11. Very tricky. Normally you count that as 2 turns. It's not. It's only the 1 turn on the track map as now Volokongan comes through turn 12 and we go back on board with him. We've run slightly wide coming out of turn 12, but you can afford to do that. Then through 13, then through 14 where Perpetum famously made a move right on the outside on Tuesday night to try and get the move done for that position for the net lead of the race. Volokongan then towards the line. This extended run to the line now here at Circuit Paul Ricard, and it's a 1:28.3 from Volokongan. I think he can find a little bit of time on that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I've been on board with his teammate Trippy Jeff, purple in sector 1 and 2, so this could just pinch ahead of his teammate here. So he goes to the line, and yes, he does by a 10th.
And Ryan
so beaten by Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan comes in with a 27.9. I'm on board with Gary, who is Ryan's teammate, and Gary looks like he's going to be there or thereabouts. I think he could go pole here across the line. 28 flat, he just falls short. He's a 10th and a half off Ryan early on, but he goes second. The winner, of course, last time out in Azerbaijan. Jacob the first to set a time as well on a set of medium compound tyres as Wadema has came in with a blistering lap, a 27.6 early on. Wadema really not holding anything about early on in the session. We're on board with Seb, leading title contender after 4 rounds, I should say, now round 5 here in France, as he comes through turn 14, messes the apex, but they'll try and get the run through turn 15. Mashiro goes to the top of the standings, 27.5 I should say from him. Seb, is he going to respond to the likes of Mashiro and Wadema? Yes, he goes third with a 27.8, but I think plenty of time possibly to be found in these early laps.
Yeah, for these guys, first lap you just want it on the board as soon as possible, because I've been on board with Nathan as well a little bit, and he invalidated his first flying lap and then invalidated his following flying lap. So Nathan not having a good time up there.
Yeah, that's a shame, to be honest, for Nathan. Nathan can set a really good lap time on his day. Sway I'm on board with, getting very touchy coming out of turn 9 through the chicane node. He's got a Ferrari just in front of him out on track through the second sector split. He's there or thereabouts, I think, in terms of Volokongan's lap so far. 49.3 I think that was through the second sector for Volokongan. And then Sway now comes through turn 11, pretty much around the same point through turn 11, really diving down. And Sway, I can say, is one of the first drivers to actually switch to the PS5. So he is actually driving on the PS5 right now. Hopefully he's not going to be half a second quicker than the rest of the field as what has been rumoured to be. But Sway coming through turn 15 out on track, looking very nice indeed. Coming out the final corner, he's going to be there or thereabouts. He could go behind Gary, I think, coming towards the line, and in fact he's nowhere near. He goes 10th with a 28.5. Matt Tebos is invalidated on a lap. Adamako's out there on the mediums. AJ as well invalidated, so I think Cowboy's just gone up to 6th.
Yeah, we're 28.1, a good lap there from Cowboy. I'm interested to see where Adamako is going to filter in on these mediums, because the sun is starting to come out now. The overcast conditions have quickly disappeared here in qualifying, and the sun is shining through, and here comes Adam Mackel to the line, and it's at 29.4, and I think only softs are going to be able to break the top 10 here.
Softs, I think, will definitely break the top 10. J. Cole and Adamako, they might be 8 tenths off the pace, but you can quicken a lap around here by between 1.6 to 2 seconds on a lap, especially with improving conditions. And as the track evolves, this track will get quicker and quicker, and you never know, you might even be in a position to say that Division 2, for the first time this season, might have a quicker qualifying lap than Division 1. AJ is on a down lap, I think, as we ride on board, 54.1 through the middle sector. There's a yellow flag coming through the middle sector as well. Is that Sway going slowly, or Cowboy, one of the 2 Red Bulls?
Yeah, I think that is Cowboy. Yeah, it's Cowboy.
Yeah, Cowboy going slow. I think he might have run out of fuel, if I'm not mistaken. Look at how slow he's going. Yeah, he's in 7th gear. He's going to make it into the pit lane. Now he has run out of fuel. But the Irishman, of course, Division 4 commentator this season, he is now back into the pit lane. 28.1, really respectable lap. He's in 6th currently out on qualifying. Let's focus though on the man that I've just seen down there in 14th, yet to set a lap time in. TTG Cam. He's part of the academy team, of course, here in TTG, and this is his first outing within Division 2. He's a reserve, filling in for Rostro tonight. How do you think he'll get on?
Well, this is going to be a great audition for him to see if he's got the pace. Maybe try and aim to get into Division 2 next season, because I believe he's currently racing in Division 3, am I right?
No, he's a Division 2 reserve for this season. I think it was Division 3 last season, if I'm not mistaken, and towards the top end of the field as well.
Ah, right. So it's a good audition for Cam to see if he can compete on the level of these guys here in Division 2.
Yeah, and Cam, I think, is going to be one of the first to come across the line to start their second laps. I think Ryan has just gone onto a lap as well as Jekyll. So they're both on a lap there as well. But we'll cut to, actually, Ryan out on track. If I can get my way around this system. There he is in the Renault on a set of soft compound tyres, just coming through turn 3. Nearly invalidated through that, actually.
I'm not sure what has happened.
Uh-oh.
My connection has just gone from the session, so I'll have to join back in.
Terrible. Anyways, Ryan on the lap. He's 200ths down, coming through that first sector out on track. I was wondering what was going on. I think we saw an invalidation or something there. But Ryan up the hill in towards turn 10, and he's a 10th up. 48.7, exactly where you want to be. Through the middle sector so far, and the Renault, he flies through turn 10 and then through this 180-degree right-hander of turn 11. Gary, his teammate, is also on a lap. He's just coming through turn 6 out on track. But Ryan now coming through turn 12. Very nicely through on there. Have you managed to get back into the session, or do you want me to send an invite your way?
I'm loading back in now.
You're loading back in now. Fantastic stuff. Ryan coming through turn 15. Final corner out on track. So apologies if you can see Mike rejoining the session. I can promise you he will be here soon. Third, Ryan goes 27.6. Nice time. J. Cole comes in. How's that for a time? 27.999 out for 5th position so far.
All the 9s there for J. Cole. And I was on board with Ola Kongan before I disconnected there, and he did improve with a 28.0. So Ola Kongan finding a few tenths up there.
Matt Tibos goes 2,000 off the back of Gary, and there is Gary. He's improving by 4/10, but Zwadema has improved to the top of the standings. Mashiva went second there as well, so Zwadema's still out on top. Mashiva, though, responds 27.4. Gary across the line, 27.4. He goes quickest out of everyone. So the Irishman finding time. He ran out of ERS right at the end of that lap there as well, and the Irishman goes quickest, 9,000ths of a second. Separate the top two, add in Zwadema, and you've got 400ths of a second separating the top 3, which is very close for qualifying.
Yeah, it's incredibly close at the top end, and what a lap from Gary to get up into provisional pole position. I still think there's more time out there for him.
There is more time. The track is still going to evolve, I think, and we could be in a position where we could be quicker than Division 1 on Tuesday. Obviously, the conditions change at this point within Division 1 to intermediate, but Powdy on a lap, the Irishman, currently down in 19th, hasn't set a lap just yet. Cam and James Alonso as well, not setting any times just yet. Adam Acko and AJ have came in both on mediums as well. I believe they're now out on a set of soft compound of tyre. Powdy through the middle sector, 48.9, he's there or thereabouts. There's a Ferrari off through turn 8, and was that Cam on an outlap? Gary gets out of the way of Powdy just about. Sorry to cut in again, but Gary nearly got in the way of Powdy then. Everyone track extending wide to try and stay out the way of their drivers in front. But Emma's going to come into the pit lane. Powdy's still on a lap. And yeah, I think it was Cameron on that lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. It could be F1 AMG, because he is also out there running around at the moment.
Out he goes 16th, 30.7. He backed off just before the line, about 200 yards before the line there, and he goes 16th behind Adamako by 1.3 seconds, but he can improve. He might be feeling that he will start toward the bottom end of the top 10, and that might be the case here out on track tonight. TRT James, though, his teammate, the Irishman, 49 flat through the middle sector, as he now comes through turn 11, this tricky, very right-hander. The tricky right-hander, I should say, coming through turn 11 and now through turn 12. Wide out exit, just upping it down into second, then into third to try and prioritise the traction. He might have just lost a little bit of time because of that, but James now flying through turn 14 and then through 15, of course. The sister cars, Callboy and Sway are currently 11th and 14th. Let's see what James can do. Through onto the DRS straight. I think he's going to go around Volakongan sort of area, to be honest, with this lap across the line. Oh, what's that for a prediction? He goes 8th, right in behind him.
Yeah, I'm only 1,000th of a second ahead of Matt Tibos.
Unbelievable. Is that a James Head prediction that's gone right so far? I've got a few right in Division 1.
Whoa, just on board with Adamako then. He's just touched the curb at turn 12, losing the back end. He was purple in sector 2, which
backs out.
I hope means he was purple for the entire session, or whether that's just his personal purple sector. But Adamako there just losing the back end on that curb, and that's something that we will have to keep an eye on. That turn 12 curb.
Yeah, especially through turn 12, I think you can lose it through there, especially if you have a slightly unstable setup. Even one bounce of that curb can really throw you off coming through turn 12. And as Mike has said, that's what happened exactly to Adamako. Cam is on a lap, however, as he now comes around the final couple of corners out on track. He looks like he's going to be there or thereabouts. He's flying on this lap. Cam now towards the line. He could go quickest, you know. Cross the line. He goes 5th. 27.8, not a bad lap at all, and he goes ahead of Seb, who's a leading championship contender.
Yeah, fantastic lap there from Cam, and I'm pretty sure Mashiro's leading the championship.
Yeah, Mashiro is leading the championship, I think, on 97 points. AJ second, Seb currently in 5th on 67. But Mashiro right in behind there in second as the final guys start to get out on their laps. I believe Jekyll has just gone on to a lap out on track. 27.999, his current improvement. Hopefully he won't be bringing that number out on track. But Jekyll now coming up towards turn 3. And Jekyll has had a really good start to the season. He's down there in 7th on 47 points. 2 points off Matt Tibos, who's down in 10th. Surely Jekyll, liking it through the first sector, 1900s down. Bit of a disadvantage there, but in terms of the championship, he's outscoring his nearest pursuer.
Yeah, and that's going to be big for J. Cole, but he needs to keep it up if he wants to really take the fight to those guys ahead of him in the championship, because we know how consistent the rest of those guys can be, and J. Cole needs to keep up his consistency as well. He's still only just down on his time in sector 2 as well, so you have to find it in the final sector.
He's got to really push it through the final sector. The Alfa Romeo now comes through turn 11. So Demo's teammate, 27.5. Really got to try and live up to that expectation, I think. The Alfa Romeo team, of course, are trying to chase down as Cam has retired into the pit lane. He's not getting another lap in. Jekyll, however, is coming through turn 14. Really tight towards that apex coming through turn 14. That can save you time, but it gives you a poor run out the final corner. And now Jekyll towards the line. I don't think he's improving, to be honest. Jekyll across the line. Just about improved. He found all of the time in that final sector, but only improved by 400ths of a second out on track. We've got Sway and Nathan both on lap. Sway has invalidated. He comes around the final corner, and we've got a bit of a roughing out glitch with him, which you can't hear, luckily. And Sway is also invalid on a lap. And will he get another chance, actually? I think he will.
Which is he on track right now? Is he in the final sector?
Yeah, he's just about to come through the split, coming through the middle sector. He should get another lap in.
Okay. I think he should be okay, but currently on board with Gary right now, who is just opening DRS down the back straight towards the chicane. And for Gary, this needs to be a big lap because he's going to be setting his lap time first.
Flying through turns 8 and 9. I believe I heard a cat meow in the background there. Wasn't me. Wasn't Mike either. Gary up the hill towards turn 10. He's lost the time coming through the middle sector. I just heard that in the back of my eardrum. That was strange.
Yeah, that was my cat. I do apologise.
We've got an intruder on the stream. It might be Tom. He might be trying to take over from Tom tonight. Gary coming through, turn 12, out on track. The Irishman has to find a little bit of time. Now he's in danger. So we Demo on a lap, Ryan on a lap as well. But Gary now tight towards the apex through 14. He has to respond through this final corner, but he locks up and he runs out wide. And now Gary coming around the final 2 corners. He might improve, but I doubt it. Gary towards the line. Doesn't improve his 300th off. Mashiro's just started up on the laps. Wadema is invalid. Sways around. Through turn 2.
Yeah, through turn 2.
What happened there? Did he get caught on the apex, I think?
I was just scrolling down towards Adam Mako, who's coming to the line now. I just seen sway backwards. And Adam Mako improves it to 7th. The 27.9 as we got the Mercedes of AJ improving.
AJ goes 5th, Seb is on a lap as well, but Ryan through the final sector. He's on a fly with a lap here actually, Ryan. Towards the line, is he going to be Gary? No, he doesn't improve. He's a 10th off in the end. Mashiro's out on there on the lap and he's 2 tenths up. Callboy goes 6th, Cam's still 7th. Seb is also out there on a lap, which we'll cut to now, as that was Matt Tibos going 5th there as well. Seb is on a lap, I think he's improving now in the Mercedes as he comes around the final couple of corners out on track. We've got Tionis, I think, ahead of him out on track there as well. Tionis might improve, but across the line, here comes Seb, and Seb trying to lay it all on the line for Gary, but he doesn't improve either. 500ths off, it's only Mashiro that can do it, and he's 2 tenths up across the line. He goes quickest, 27.2 out on track. It's only Alonso to respond. He's invalid. That is qualifying over and done with. And Mashiro, in the end, we talked about how close it would be in qualifying, but Mashiro's just blitzed them by nearly 3 tenths.
Mashiro just set a absolutely fantastic lap time there. 27.2, wow. Absolutely smashed it.
I think he's only a 10th off Perpetum in pole for pole in Division 1 as well, which makes it even more remarkable, I think. Unbelievable stuff. Mashiro out on top though, Gary seconds, Wadema in 3rd, Excel filling out 3 of the top 4 positions, with Ryan there in 4th, Jonas in 5th, Matt Tibos in 6th, AJ 7th. Look at how close it is between Cowboy, Cam, F1 AMG and Seb, filling out the top 11 positions. Adamako in 12th, Trippy Jeff 13th, J. Cole 14th, Volakongan 15th, James 16th, less than a second separating the top 16. Nathan and Sway getting lap times in 17th and 18th. Powdy with that lap time 30.7, which he backed off on, and Alonso invalid, not getting another lap in. And Alonso seems to have this habit, I think, of setting invalid laps during qualifying, and he always starts now, certainly within the last 3 weeks or so, towards the back of the field.
Yeah, and it's a far cry from the Alonso that we saw last season.
There's a massive far cry. I thought you were going to say something else there. It was a massive far cry from him last season. I'm not sure if you can see, actually, if you zoom in close enough, Seb looks like he's on a set of wet compound of tyres, if you notice there, in the garage, which is definitely not the compound of tyre that we're going to be going on for these race. And Seb obviously qualifying still within the top 10, so he'll be going on to a set of soft compound of tyres, but we are about 30 seconds away from the action out on track around here at Circuit Paul Ricard. 5.8 kilometres in length, 157.7 kilometres race distance, 27 laps await these drivers. Let's talk about strategy though. I'll come on to your top 3 later on, just before we get to the start of the race. Strategy around here, what's the best? Because sometimes we see it, the 2-stop be quickest, but the 1-stop can equally be as quick as well.
I think it's going to be a flip of the coin. Obviously these guys they'll have to react to what happens around them, so potentially trying to get undercuts or maybe damage early on. We hope that doesn't happen, of course. Or, of course, a safety car or a VSC could spice things up, but I think these guys will have to think about it on the fly.
And there is, as by magic, the predicted pit stop strategy in the say, the 2-stop is quickest. Lap 5 to 8, lap 16 to 20 on a set of medium compound of tyres. So that's quite interesting. We normally see around here in Esports Masters League, certainly back in the past there, where we had the 25% races, that the guys would pit in from around lap 4 or lap 5. Is that the case again here tonight, or do they go just that little bit longer? I'm thinking around lap 7, lap 8 maybe?
I think it'll depend on how much these guys know about the strategy around here, because I'm sure everyone chucks in a massive amount of practice, race practice. Would depend. I mean, we may see someone doing an absolute worldie doing soft and mediums.
We could do indeed. Just seen in the comments section, good evening to everyone that is tuning in. As I say, we've taken a budget cut for 1 week and 1 week only. Tom not being here tonight. No graphics for you guys, but we can promise you some fantastic action out on track. Jake comes in and says, come on all the Excel lads and Gary. He doesn't include Gary as a part of Excel. That's ridiculous, that. He won last week. Can't miss the Excel Constructors Battle as well, says Jake Hall. Thanks for watching to everyone. Please like and subscribe, of course. And we've got a cat emoji for you, for yourself, Mike, in there from Maze, which is very nice indeed, out on track. And also support for Volakongan. Towards the end of the formation lap, though, I've got to come to you. What do you expect in terms of the top 3?
I think Mashiro for the win. And I'm going to go Ryan and Gary on the podium. I think a double Renault podium's on the cards.
Now, you couldn't go without a commentary by saying Gary would not get a podium out on track. You had to put him in there. You had to. I'm not surprised either that you've put him in either after his win in Baku last week. But we are just moments away from the French Grand Prix beginning. The 5 red lights are soon about to go out. Mashiro will lead us off the line. We see the run down towards turn 1. And these 5 red lights should be coming on any second now. And indeed, here they come. We are about to go racing here in France. Drive-through penalties for everyone, but it's lights out and away we go. That's ridiculous. Off the start, 5 drivers have picked up F1. The drive-through penalties off a glitch start. Oh, and there's all sorts of carnage off the start. Adam Mako was crashed on the way down towards turn 1. AJ's got a collision with him as well. Matt Tibos has been caught up in that. F1 AMG's been caught up in that as well. Quite a lot of carnage early on, but we continue as we mean to go on. There is Sway. He's not in the lead. There is Gary, though, and Gary is in the lead of the race, and he's got past Mashiro, running down towards turn 2, and Mashiro now through turn 4 has got to try, through turn 6 I should say, has got to try and come back. Drama here early on in France, but there's the correct standings. Adam Ako already out the race. Gary out on top though, Mashiro in second. Look at Mashiro using up the overtake mode, trying to get close enough into the chicane. No, we've got Tionis and Trippy Jeff trying to go side by side in behind as well as we flick on board with the Williams trying to go around the outside of the Haas, and he makes it stick on the set of soft compound tyres. Great stuff from Tionis, and Cam now on the side of him, goes past him, and he's up into 6th position. Great stuff from out on track. I'm sure the race start will be investigated for sure, as Mashiro was on the inside line through on Gary. Through turn 11, they make contact. The 2 leaders, Mashiro is round, the championship leader is round briefly. Coming through turn 11, he gets the car recovered, and he's still in P6. He's now down to P7. Trippy Jeff goes past him, but what drama here early on in France. That race start, I'm sure, will get investigated, as Trippy Jeff, Volakonga, Nathan, F1 AMG, and AJ all picked up drive-throughs off the start, and it seemed to me as if it was a bit of a glitch start out on track.
Yeah, it looks like a glitch start, and from bad to worse for the Haas boys, they're going to have to double stack here.
Yeah, indeed. Gary sets a new fastest lap of the race. Cam is now through on Tionis, and he's through and he's up into P4. Good stuff there from Cam, and he's already up into 4th. There's a predicted pit stop strategy. Set of softs 6 to 7. That for a medium set 14 to 15 possibly. So 2-stop strategy might be on the cards for Tom. But for Cam even, as we've got everyone into the pit lane, Trippy Jeff, Volakongan, all into the pit lane to serve up either their drive-thrus or pit stop. F1 AMG, Nathan and Matt Tibos all into the pit lane as well. But Gary leads by 9/10 of a second out on track. Ryan in second, with Demmer in third. AJ's retired out the race as well.
Yeah, I was going to say AJ came into the pits, retired out of the race, and one of the big movers at the start of this race on the hard set of tyres, J. Cole up into 8th.
There's the position changes actually. Powdy is up 8 positions as well. He's actually getting the most out of the field so far. Sway in the sister car is right on the back of him. Red Bull against AlphaTauri for 11th and 12th. Remember, point system extends all the way down into 19th position, where we'd pick up 1 point. 20th, of course, gets absolutely 0 here in the point system for TTML. Unless I'm not mistaken, 20th does not get any points, do they?
I don't believe so. I think it's only the top 19.
Yeah, I believe that's the case anyways. Answers on a postcard in the comments section if I'm wrong with that one. But Sway, right on the back of Powdy for 11th and 12th. He's been looking to try and get the move done on the back of him. The Irishman defending off the Brit, and the Brit, who is on a PS5 of course, right on the back of Powdy. I wonder if that is why something had to do possibly with a bit of a glitch start out on track, with the lobby host obviously being on the PS5 and everyone else possibly being on the PS4. But we'll dwell on that later. Gary still leads the way onto lap 3. DRS now enabled. Ryan in second, Wadema in third. Cam is all over the back of him in fourth. But XL so far have got a 1-2-3, which wouldn't look too shabby in Esports Masters League, if I've got to be honest.
Yeah, the XL lads living high right now, especially with J. Cole on that alternative strategy, leading in the pack.
Oh, Seb's very late on the brakes down the inside line. Oh, and he makes contact. He just tried to go a little bit too much on the brakes there. And Seb, one of the main championship contenders, 5th in the standings coming into tonight's round through turn 8 of the chicane node. James is now through on J. Cole as a result, and J. Cole now drops down into P9. James is through and he's up into P8, out on track on that set of hard compound of tyres, showing us mediums on my end. I don't know why that is. Cam, though, has picked up the first 3-second time penalty of the night as well. There is the penalties out on track. Trippy Jeff as well, 3-second time penalty. So everyone actually been into the pit lane has either served a 5-second stop go or they've served a drive-through penalty. It's as simple as that.
Yes, and I think with this start, the way it's happened so far, we could be seeing a lot more penalties after this race.
Mashiro latching onto the back of this train. This DRS train it will be for the top 6 positions out on track. It is Gary who leads. It's a runner 1-2 out on track. Ryan is all over the back of him though. Begs into question as I burp, and pardon me and excuse me for that. Ryan on the back of Gary. But it seems to me as if Ryan is just all over the back of him. He looks quicker than Gary.
Yeah, he does look like he's got a bit of a pace advantage. However, with that DRS, it is really helping Ryan just stay onto the back of him. So I think Gary may not be pushing full out, maybe trying to drag his teammate along a little bit to defend from Zudema, who is directly behind Ryan right now.
I believe Tionis had a sideways exit coming out of the chicane node and Mashiro was through. Mashiro had the power off the corner and he's through and he's up into P5, so he's recovered well after that bit of a half spin earlier on and the loss of positions on lap 1 as well. But it's with Dema right on the back of Ryan, and the XL boys are going to be loving this at this stage in the race. Gary leads, Ryan second, Wadema third, Cam in fourth, who's picked up a 3-second time penalty. Somebody else that's just picked up a 3-second time penalty there is Sway with a 3 seconds, and he is now, as Cam is into the pit lane from fourth. It's an early pit stop.
Very early pit stop there for Cam.
Mediums, he's going 2-stop. He has to go 2-stop. He's going into a set of medium compound of tyres as Cam. And he's into the pit lane from what was 4th position out on track. Tionis trying to chase down Mashiro out on track. He's 4th, 5th currently as well. But Gary leads, Ryan seconds, Wadema in third. I will leave you in the capable hands of Mike. I'll be back in just 2 minutes. I'm on board with the battle for the lead as well.
Okay, so I'll stay on board with that battle as Wadema doesn't get the best of runs, but hopefully we'll have Slipstream DRS wide open. Is he going to be close enough to Ryan? He has got the straight line speed. You can see him closing in, but not close enough to make the move. Meanwhile, Tijonis just staying behind us. Gary picks up a 3-second time penalty. So Gary now under pressure with that 3-second time penalty. J. Cole stays behind TRT James for the time being. Sway still holding it ahead of Powdy as we got Seb trying to make his way back up the order after that early contact with the spin. And we have a bit of a gap going back towards Hasses as we got Trippy Jeff all over the back of Volakongan. And we got Cam who's just come out of the pit lane all the way down in 15th, but right on the back of the 2 Hasses. Gonna go back up towards the front and see if Ryan can close in on his teammate. And I wonder if Gary will perhaps move out of the way of Ryan, now knowing that he now has that 3-second time penalty. Only time will tell as we go through turns 4 and now into 5. Alonso getting very close to the back there of Howdy on the entry into turn 3. Trippy Jeff picking up another 3-second time penalty. Back up, here comes Redeemer. It's Redeemer on the inside of XL. Ryan here for 2nd place. Into the chicane, side by side, little bit of contact. Oh, it's Redeemer there, just keeping a hold of his car. Little bit of contact made between the 2 XL boys, and it's starting to get a bit feisty up there. Meanwhile, just behind, we see J. Cole getting the move done on TRT James. So J. Cole now up into 7th place. Was Redeemer all over the back of Ryan, and a little bit of contact between the XL lads, and it is showing that they are racing. Meanwhile, we got Nathan, who is around at turn 2. So Nathan having a bit of a spin. He's back underway once again. Gary now peeling off into the blink. And it will be interesting to see where he comes out relative to Cam. Cam now in a bit of clear air, so we'll see if the undercut has worked for Cam. As we got Mashiro and Cowboy also into the pit lane. And Ryan picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. The XL lads starting to pick up some penalties. The Renault boys are in trouble early on with track limits. As we got Cam. Cam has managed to get out ahead of Gary. So Cam now in a net race lead. As Trippy Jeff just gets ahead of Gary as well.
Yeah, Gary right on the back, just coming out the pit lane. Trippy Jeff in 11th. Ryan though leads the way, and since I've gone, I've noticed that Gary has just came into the pit lane, but Cam has undercut everyone, I think, out on track.
Yep, Cam with a fantastic undercut there, and Trippy Jeff getting ahead as we got Scuderia Seb now making the move on Alonso for 7th down the inside into the chicane. Lovely stuff there from Scuderia Seb.
Alonso's going to have a come back at him though, out of turn 9. Not quite. Gary, however, is through down the inside on Trippy Jeff. He gets that move done. We'll switch back to Alonso as well. He's still on the back of Seb for P10, P11. Through turn 11, through turn 10, through turn 11 for P8 and P7. That's on track. Paddy is just ahead of these guys as well on a set of hard compound tyres. Trippy Jeff is trying to hang in there on Gary, but Gary has got that move done. But it is noticeable that Mashiro now has got a car in his way in Trippy Jeff, because Trippy Jeff will not be coming into the pit lane anytime soon, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think it was crucial that Gary made that move as soon as possible on Trippy Jeff, just to have that little buffer between him and Mashiro, especially since now Gary has picked up a 3-second time penalty, as has Ryan.
Wow.
And we just saw Cam undercutting everyone.
Miles ahead, and Ryan's going to come out right in the thick of this as well. He's just in behind Mashiro. Mashiro didn't get the move done on Trippy Jeff down in towards turn 1 either, but Cam has undercut literally everyone out on track, and he's now in the net race lead. Great stuff from Cam out on track. He has got 3 seconds though. He's got 6 seconds actually now out on track. But Gary, Trippy Jeff and Ryan also have penalties as well as Sway. You can see it there. Nathan's just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well for track limits. Here comes though Mashiro, the championship leader, on the back of Trippy Jeff. He's going to try and get past sooner rather than later, but look, it's just nullified within the DRS straight down in towards the chicane. No one coming through turn 8 and 9. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. That is Volakongan, I think, into the pit lane. No, Nathan retired. So Nathan's retired out of the race. Here comes Mashiro though, still on the back of Trippy Jeff. I don't think he's going to be close enough up the hill and towards turn 10. And he's not for now. He might have a go in towards turn 11. But holds sway for now. It's Gary, Trippy Jeff, Mashiro, still 8th, 9th and 10th. You can see the pit stops there as well to the left-hand side of your screen. Cam, Gary, Mashiro, Ryan and the likes have all been into the pit. The top 6 haven't been into the pit lane yet. Why should they, to be honest? They're on a different set of tyres.
Yep, and right now...
Oh, Mashiro's down the inside. Somebody cut in. Mashiro down the inside. Very late move. He disposes of Trippy Jeff as if he wasn't even there. And now Ryan, suddenly out of nowhere, is going to try and get the move done on Trippy Jeff. Mashiro very late on the brakes, gets the move done in towards the final corner. Ryan down the inside. Trippy Jeff, goodness me, that caused the contact. But Trippy Jeff hangs on for P10 and Ryan was hung out to dry. Cam has just picked up another penalty as well. But Mashiro, how late was that down on the inside? I wasn't even expecting him to come down on the inside, but he did. He disposed of Trippy Jeff and now he's on the back of Gary.
Yeah, and that was a very opportunistic move from Mashiro to catch Trippy Jeff almost napping there in the final corner.
Caught him napping, alright. He caught me napping as well with my camera work. Mashiro, right on the back of Gary. Trippy Jeff trying to close in as well, just in behind. He's still on that 8-lap-old medium compound of tyres. He picks up another 3-second time penalty for his pain as well. Every couple of laps, we'll have a look through the penalties and see where everyone is at, of course, for that new feature. But we are a third of the way through here in France. And if you're just tuning in now, where have you been for the last 9 laps and for the last 40 minutes or so? Jake all out in front from James in second, Seb third, Powdy fourth, Alonso fifth, Sway in sixth. The top 6 still yet to pit in, but noticeable. Cam still pulling away from Gary. 3.9 seconds, in fact, the gap now between Cam and Gary. And Gary has got a whole load of guys in behind him as Trippy Jeff is going to try and repay the favour down the inside of Mashiro. Very late, he had to half commit for the move. But can he get the run down in towards turn 1? No, Mashiro just pulls away. Trippy Jeff has run out of ERS. Ryan is nowhere close to him. Gary is just about holding on for 8, but Gary's going to come under a lot of pressure as Mashiro just outdone turn 1 slightly, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty because of it.
Yeah, and we're starting to see a similar pattern now between these guys on the soft harder strategy. They're starting to pick up these 3-second time penalties, and meanwhile, you got the guys like Scuderia Seb, James and Jaco, who haven't picked up a single penalty yet, who will come back at them later in this race, I think.
Yeah, and if you're wondering how you can determine the penalties as Powdy is spun. Coming out of turn 9, Alonso rips up that position and takes it by the scruff of the neck, and he's through and he's up into P4. Powdy just got caught wide on the curb and now is back down to P5. Trippy Jeff's going to try and have a go at Mashiro up the hill, but he's not going to be close enough, I don't think. And these guys will remain in position for now, but Powdy forced into a slight mistake there by Alonso. Alonso through and he's up into P4, out on track. But just coming back to what you were saying as well, yeah, Jaco, James, Seb, all still yet to pit in. They can go to around the halfway stage in this race before they can think about pitting in. Now, for them, Jaco, Alonso and Powdy especially, they're going to be going on, I think certainly, onto a set of medium compound of tyres. Everyone else, as Trippy Jeff is into the pit lane on 9-lap-old mediums, well 10-lap-old if you count them in. Mashiro, Gary and the likes come past him into the pit lane. Ryan down the straight as well. But what I was saying there, that's a relatively early pit stop, I think, from Trippy Jeff, if I've got to be honest.
Yeah, it does appear that it's going to be a pretty early pit stop for Trippy Jeff, but he may be thinking if he pits early enough, he can maybe take advantage of the undercut that we saw Cam take advantage of earlier on.
But he's came out about, yeah, he's came out about 4 or 5 seconds off the back of Volokongan, who I'm on board with, chasing down Matt Tibos. But they're still in 14th and 15th. Volokongan on slightly fresher tyres. He hasn't picked up a penalty just yet. But out on track, it's all about this battle now here as Sway is under pressure from Cam. Cam just got to be careful on his ERS usage running up the hill in towards turn 10 as the cloud begins to build here, and Sway's going to let him through. So Cam now through and he's up into P6, and Sway, I think that was just a move to the right hand side to say, you know what, you're on a different strategy to me, you're coming through, and I wouldn't imagine that Sway will be into the pit. I think he'll be into the pit this lap as Volokongan is through Matt Tibos.
Yeah, but Sway knowing that he's not in that fight, and right now Cam doing a very good job of trying to make this 2-stop work. He's already built out pretty much a 5-second gap to Gary, Mashiro, Ryan and Zudema, and on fresher tyres at the end of the race he could very well come back at them, but of course we got to remember those penalties that he's already picked up. Yeah,
then penalties, we'll have a look at the penalties actually. 9 seconds now for Cam. as Callboy is through on TRT James. TRT James just coming out the pit lane and actually missing the pit exit slightly there as he comes out the pit lane. I wonder if he got a little bit leery on the power coming out the pit lane, but still, Matibos trying to chase down Volokongan as well. There's the latest scenario. 9 seconds for Cam, 3 seconds for Sway, Gary, Mashiro, Ryan, Matibos. 9 seconds as well for Jeff, I should say, out on track. And Matibos all over the back here with Volokongan. This is for 14th and 15th. We try and provide all the battles for you guys here out on track. J-Call, though, still out there on a set of hard compound of tyres. Cloud beginning to build. Is this a sign, possibly, that these guys are waiting for something to come? There are parts of the track where it's still sunny, but the cloud is beginning to build. And those tyres, I think, are going to come into play more, I think, rather than the fresher tyres out on track.
Yeah, it's interesting that now that the clouds are starting to form, we now see why J. Cole, Alonso and Powdy opted for the hards. Maybe expecting a bit of a downfall of the rain coming later in this race.
Yeah, possible rain in the race. I'm not sure if we had any weather forecasters in the comment section to prove that, but Seb into pit lane then from second position, and he, currently 5th in the standings, is going to come out right in amongst this pack, I think. Ryan Cam has picked up another penalty out on track. He's honestly getting so many penalties. We're only halfway through, and he's got, what, 12 seconds now of penalties? If he keeps this up, he could get disqualified.
Yeah, and that would be worst case scenario for Cam, as now he's on the back of Powdy for 3rd place. And yeah, he needs to watch it on these track limits, as if he just continues to pick them up, he will end up getting disqualified.
Look at the closing speed he's got. Cam down on the inside line into the chicane north, and Cam is through down the inside on Powdy. Easy as you like. He's through and he's up into 3rd. Only criticism I would make so far, keep it within the white lines. It's simple as that. He's doing a phenomenal drive as a reserve, but he has now got to pick what tyres are going to be best for him towards the end of the race, because I don't think he's going to be going on to a set of soft compound of tyres. I think he has to stick on another set of mediums, because we've seen some of the likes of Seb come into the pit lane just then on 12 lap old tyres. He is certainly going to be thinking, I think, before lap 20 to pit in.
Yeah, and he's taken quite a lot out of these tyres by pushing as hard as he is, but of course he does need to on this 2-stop strategy to make it work. But I just think that he's just picked up too many pens now.
He's picked up too many penalties. His ERS usage as well could be at a bit of a disadvantage. Powdy is keeping with him on probably the same amount of tyre wear than Cam is picking up on a set of mediums. The hards, of course, can carry a lot more less tyre wear out on track compared to a set of mediums. If you're new to Formula 1, have a look up about the tyre wear. It's something like 4 or 5% per lap. But look at how these weather conditions have changed over the last lap and a half or so. It is literally qualifying, start of qualifying type weather now. And we could see possibly a bit of rain as Wadema and Ryan and Tionis latch on to the back now of the sway train. The sway train, I'm going to call it. I could have got that first time around, but I didn't.
Yep, the sway train in full effect now, as we got what should be a fantastic battle, as Ryan picked up another 3-second time penalty, all the way down from 5th down to 10th, all within DRS of each other. And with the penalties now that Ryan and Mashiro and Gary down the inside the sway.
Beautiful. Sway's just going to get out of the way, I think. He lets this lead battle go through. James is running on the back of Callboy. The yellow flag for Sector 3 is for Sway getting out of the way. I think fair play to him, to be honest. He's not really in a battle with these guys. He should come into the pit lane very soon indeed, if not this lap. And he's still continuing on, which makes me wonder if he's staying out there for possible race changer in terms of the conditions. Possible intermediates towards the end?
Could very well be, as we look at Powdy. Powdy coming out on a set of mediums now. So Powdy ducking out for the standard one-stop hard medium strategy. So I don't know, it's looking very overcast out there, very dark in the skies. We could see rain, but will it come? Oh, safety car!
Trippy Jeff crashes coming through turn 15. Honestly, not sure what happened there. Did he miss the pit lane? Is what I'm wondering. He's got no front wing there out on track. And Trippy Jeff has now got to troop round on a lap. For a lap, I should say, with no front wing. And F1 AMG is just going to have to stick behind him. It's going to be so frustrating. But safety car now out on track. And this has played big time, I think, into the likes of J. Cole and Alonso.
Yeah, J. Cole especially. He's already got a healthy lead to Alonso. But this also helps out Cam as well, because he's on that two-stop strategy, and you'll relatively get that second pit stop for free now.
He is. You can see these guys, Trippy Jeff and F1 AMG, they're just swapping positions. I think the game has now given the credit to F1 AMG. He now goes through.
Cam almost into the back of Alonso into the pit lane.
Just caught on board at the end of that. Alonso into the pit lane then. J. Cole into the pit, and the leaders, or what the net leaders were, they're all into the pit lane as well, all the way back to Tiana. Sway, interestingly, staying out still. I wonder if he's still expecting that rain. He has to be.
It's a very interesting call from Sway. And J. Cole's going to come out still in the race lead now, which...
Wow. And if it stays dry, J. Cole's going to be at a big advantage, I think, because he's got Sway behind him, still yet to pit in. He's the only driver out there still yet to pit in. James in third is on a set of hard compound of tyres. Now, he's going to try and risk it and go to the end of the race. I wonder if he is also thinking about the rain. As you see something there?
Yeah, Mashiro and Mashiro's been jumped by his Redeemer and Dijonas in the pits.
Did he get held up?
I think he must have been held up in the pits, and I can only think with the double stack with the Renaults.
Or we picked up a 5-second time penalty. Yeah, with Reynolds obviously being in front of the McLaren garage, that could have been the case. But it could have also been the case where Mashiro was just caught up in traffic purely. Tiana's there in a bit of AI mode there in 9th position. Yes, I'm on board with you, mister. Don't come at me in the comment section if you are listening. J. Cole the lead from Sway in 2nd, James in 3rd, Alonso in 4th, Seb in 5th, Cam 6th, Parry 7th, Gary 8th, Tianas 9th, Zvedema 10th, Mashiro 11th, with Ryan in 12th, Cowboy 13th, Volakongan 14th, Matibos 15th, F1 AMG 16th, and Trippy Jeff in 17th position. Myself, James Head, and Mike Edwards taking you through the commentary here. And Mike, for anybody that's tuning in now, we've got about 10 laps to go out on track. J. Cole leading, and crucially, that safety car came out in exactly the right spot, I think, for him. Yeah,
absolutely. It was a fantastic moment there for J. Cole, Alonso, and for Cam. What that's also done is also brought Scuderia Seb back into things up in P5 on those hards. And Sway now into the pit lane. I think he just didn't want to get caught with all the traffic in the pit lane, but I think he's lost a huge amount of positions by not pitting the first time round.
Set of softs for Sway. There's no rain forecast, by the way. I'm just looking at the comments, and Lando's saying there is no rain forecast at all. So this is just the change up in the conditions, I think. Sway is going to be right on the back of these guys. F1 AMG still having to stick to that delta time in 16th. Sway is going to get ahead of him. So the Red Bull ahead of the Ferrari coming out of the pit lane. So they're in 15th and F1 AMG in 16th position. Let's have a penalties update as well. 12 seconds for Cam. Cam, underneath the safety car, commented in the comment section, and I quote, "I'm an idiot with penalties." You're not an idiot with penalties. This track, honestly, is quite punishing for track extensions, especially on this game as well. The track extensions, if you put two wheels over the white line, you're bound to get a penalty. It's as simple as that. Cam, honestly, if you're listening in, just keep on doing what you're doing. You might have 12 seconds worth of penalties, but you had a really good start to this race. Don't doubt yourself going forward at all. It might be your first race within Division 2, but honestly, if you want to carry on with a really good mindset, just keep on at it. Keep on the back of Seb, get him. Simple as that. It's like I'm offering life advice for our drivers out on track tonight. Safety car in.
Yeah, it was. I was going to ask if you were opening your own little self-help store. Then.
James had
that was motivational.
James Head's Academy within TTG. There you go. Might have heard the rumblings of it first right here on Division 2. But J. Cole currently leading. Aiden Carter and Conti, by the way, still live in Division 3. I noticed that we've got more viewers than them. Go and show them some love. They're having a great race there and still in sunshine conditions there as well in Division 3. A lot of action already happening. Lighty, I caught spun through turn 9. But J. Cole leading the way. He is now the safety car, essentially. The safety car comes into the pit lane. J. Cole, I think, just before turn 14, will opt to go. And the Excel man out on track, aiming to go, and exactly right on cue, he goes and leaves James 5/10 behind already. And a really good restart there by J. Cole. He now comes through the final corner. We are back under green flag racing here in France, even though we're not now. We will be as they come across the start-finish line. J. Cole leads. James is right on the back of him, though. Tries to use up a little bit of overtake mode down the straight in towards turn 1. Don't think anybody is close enough in behind. Cam is close enough to the back of Seb, but he's not close enough down in towards turn 1. Good restart by everyone. It is J. Cole who leads. Cam gets a phenomenal exit on Seb. On the run down towards turn 3. Mercedes against Ferrari. It's like old school Formula 1. We didn't really see this in real life. They're not really giving each other any room. And there's a little bit of a desync there, and he's spun. Seb has been spun round by Cam, and Seb picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings of that. He might get that removed. Powdy and Gary, I should say. The two Irishmen are going at it just in behind these guys. Seb is going to be a sitting duck possibly down the straight as Gary is through on Powdy, and he's through up into 6th position. But talk us through what happened there in terms of that, because it looked to me as if there was a bit of desync, if I've got to be honest.
I wasn't on board with that battle. Unfortunately, I was on board with the battle between Zredema and Tijonas because they were incredibly close as well at the same time.
Gary right on the back of Seb, trying to go around the outside of turn 10. Cam is down the inside line, and Alonso really hassling him now down the inside line, and the Ferrari, the Racing Point as well. Gary side by side with Seb in behind as well. They're going 2x2. Noah's Ark and Cam round the outside through turn 12. Brilliant move by Cam. He's a reserve here in Division 2, but he's outdone Alonso, who's had a phenomenal race so far. He's up into 4th position. Seb is through on Gary, and he's up into 5th. Brilliant action. And there's Zredema into the back of Tionas.
Yeah.
Ryan's on the back of Mashiro as well. He's got Husky Chocolate right in his front mirror as we come down the straight. Mashiro judges the line. Ryan down on the inside line. He's not going to go for the move there. Sway, however, is on Trippy Jeff around the outside through turn 1. He gets the move done down in towards turn 1. He's through and he's up into 15. We've got Noel sparing the action as Ryan dives it down the inside of Mashiro. Mashiro gives him the room and Ryan has to back out of that, and Mashiro still stays in P10. Goodness me, it's like we've gone from 0 to 100 in the matter of seconds.
Yeah, the safety car coming out is actually mixed things up once again, and for Seb, he's not really having a good time racing wheel to wheel with people here today.
He's got Gary still on the back of him as well. 6 positions gained. I mean, look at the guys. This safety car's really changed up the field. Trippy Jeff has gone past back Sway. The Sway runs wide actually and misjudges his braking zone, I think, through turn... Danny inside through turn 10, gets the move done. Brilliant stuff. I think Powdy might have just had a little bit of back out of that one, but Tionas is through and he's up into 7th position. Good stuff from the Norwegian. I was just going to say, look at the position gains out on track. Matt Tibos is through on Volakongan as well through turn 13. They're fighting side by side actually. And Matt Tibos, Volakongan there on the inside line. Volakongan spun. Volakongan is round. And Trippy Jeff is through. F1MG is through. And Volakongan rejoins the track in 16th position. Still a point scoring position. Look at J. Cole's lead. He's getting 13 positions out on track and he leads by 1.2 seconds over James in 2nd. Cam in 3rd. Alonso 4th. 7 5th. We come now down in towards turn 1, nobody close enough for a move. But this is an extensive group, I think. We've got essentially the battle for the lead, 1st down to 4th. And then we've got a massive train spanning all the way back to 12th.
Yeah, and Mashiro picking up that 3-second time penalty. It's all even steering between him and Ryan now.
And Tiana's picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane as well. So that's another additional penalty that we've seen. Trippy Jeff with 15 seconds now. Cam, though, is right on the back of James. And he now pulls out of the slipstream. This should be the easiest move you'll see all night. And yes, it is. Halfway down the Mistral straight. And Cam is through. Gary, though, is on the inside of Seb. And he's through. Gary is through and he's up into 5th. Mashiro on the back of Zwedema. Oh, very close to contact. There was a little bit of contact, in fact, there. And Zwedema in 9th. But she will really want to get on with things, the championship leader. And now Ryan right on the back of him. And Ryan uses up the overtake mode and sails on by. Right around the outside of turn 10. Mashiro nearly gets closed down, but Ryan is through. That is great one-to-one racing there between them both. Ryan not giving up with that one. Mashiro not giving up on the inside either. They nearly made contact, but that's what you like to see. Close-net racing, no contact at all. Ryan through and he's up into 10th.
Yeah, and I just seen up ahead there, Powdy making a mistake in turn 12, and Zudema almost goes straight into the back of him there. And that's going to cause a Constantino effect as now they start to close back up to Ryan and Mashiro.
Just trying to board there, Mashiro got very close to the back of Ryan as well. Ryan in the slipstream, yellow flag in second 3's F1 MG. He is Is that a crash or is that a... Yeah, it's a VSC. So he's actually crashed. I think that's into the pit wall, possibly, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at where that is, now the drivers go down to 40% worth of racing out on track. And on lap 21 out of 27, the VSC has been deployed. Jake will lead from Cam in second, James in third. The car will disappear to the right-hand side of your screen on the track map. Literally spot on. And we will get back under racing probably within the next few seconds or so, as James has picked up a drive-through for spinning on the VSC right on the restart of the VSC as well. That's a little bit harsh, if I've got to be honest.
And Tiana's now going around the outside of Seb.
Oh, that's very late on the brakes. Seb, they're bound to make contact. Tiana's having a little bit of contact there. Zwedema's right on the back of Powdy as well. He's looking to get through onto P10. You can see the DT next to James's name. That's for drive-through penalty. And Zwedema's down on the inside of Powdy. Really heated up. And Zwedema actually has got a phenomenal one on Tiana's. Could get 2 for 1 here. It's like a supermarket deal. You buy one, you get one free. And Zwedema has got that free position. And he's through and he's up into 7th. Absolutely unreal racing by the Dutchman. He is not a pole sitter in here at all. In back, Mashiro was spun. Mashiro was spun in the background. He can recover the car just about. Oh my goodness me, that's a good recovery. As was that TRT James into the pit lane as well. He is. Yes, he's into the pit lane. For his drive-through, yeah.
Unfortunately, I was just about to say it. Could this be the race where we see your namesake James get a podium? I was just about to say that, and he picks up the drive-through.
Trippy Jeff is through on Powdy as well. Powdy, I think, is disconnected out of the race. And that's why he's dropping down the field. He's certainly disconnected on my end. I didn't see him leave the session. But Volakonga now is through. And Cam has spun out of turn 6. And he rejoins track just ahead of Seb.
Yeah, and Seb now going to have to run with DRS. Straight line advantage, and through will go Cam. A little bit of contact is there. We just bang wheels there.
Might have been a little bit of a desync, possibly. Callboy is through on Ryan. Ryan really dropping down the field. But there's the position gains out on track. 13 gain for Jekyll. Alonso, he's had an absolute wretched time of things. He's gained 18 positions out on track. From 19th on the grid, as Vadema is now through on Cam. Down the inside through turn 10. We missed that slightly. Cam will try and get the switch back. But Zwedema's through and he's up into 5th position. It is coming alive here in France. Matt Tebos through on Ryan.
And Ryan's actually got wing damage, so I'm wondering if the Mashiro spin was anything to do with those two making contact. Missing a bit of end plate there.
Left side end plate damage. I wonder what corner. He's into the pit lane, so Ryan into the pit lane. Could go for fastest lap attempt. Cam, however, right on the back of Zwedema as we run down the straight. Lap 23 out of 27 about to begin here in France. Jekyll leads, Alonso second, Gary in third, Seb fourth, Zwedema fifth, Cam in 6th position. There's the latest run on the penalty situation, and why would you look at that? Jekyll, Alonso, Zwedema, possibly your top 3 at this stage.
Yeah, right now these 3 keeping it clean on track, keeping it clean on penalties, and it's also going to be pretty big for Cowboy as well, because he's currently down in 8th, but he could easily find himself at 5th at the end of this race, maybe even 4th.
Matt Tibos is finding good time as well. Matt Tibos is not entirely out of this either. I mean, Trippy Jeff, 15 seconds is well going to be behind in terms of the penalty. Could even drop down to the back of the field, possibly. Cam on the back as Vadema, again not looking close enough, running up the hill. He's got no ERS left, Cam. And this is what I said earlier on, he's got to save up that ERS out on track, and that energy recovery system, essentially, when you break into a corner, you conserve the energy. When you go out of a corner, you waste up that energy. And Cam really has got to be careful, because if he runs out of ERS running down the straight, he has no chance keeping up with the guys ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at Zredima as well. His ERS is looking pretty low as well, only around about 5% better than Cam's right now. And that could play advantage now for Seb to keep a hold of fourth on track.
Yeah, Seb's doing a good job currently, as there was a penalty pickup, I think, there. If I'm not mistaken. I couldn't see who it was, and that's just that might be my eyesight, to be honest. J. Cole, though, is the one that leads. Lap 24 out of 27. He's 7,000th off his personal best as well. Ryan is through on Powdy through the final corner. So good move there by Ryan on the mini-map. He is through on Powdy for 15th. J. Cole leads. Alonso second. Gary third. Not close enough. Wadema, is he going to be close enough to Seb? No, I think. Matt Tibos, though, is. And he's through on Callboy for 9th. For 8th, even.
Yeah, but the Haas is swapping positions there. Volacon going through on Trippy Jeff.
Yeah, Mashiro not really having a great race there at all in 12th as well. He's got 6 seconds worth of penalties. Could be coming into a little bit of play towards the end of the race, possibly, if drivers do pick up more penalties. But battle now drawn for second. Alonso Gary. For fourth, Seb, Zwadema, Cam, who's got a really good run here on Zwadema, and Cam picks up a 3-second time penalty at one of the most weirdest places you could pick up a time penalty out on track. And he's just getting so close to the back of Zwadema, right out of the slipstream now. But again, look, Zwadema just pulls away from him. And Cam, weaving down the straights, not happy at all. Zwadema, I think he was weaving, to be honest, because Zwadema cut him across coming through turn 13. Zwadema, in my opinion, was entitled to that position because he was the car ahead.
Yeah, I think a little bit over eagerness for Cam with what's going on right now. He's just braking just a little bit later than everyone else. He's pushing it just a little bit too far on this track, I think.
He is, and that's why he's picked up 15 seconds. Trippy Jeff as well, but Gary is through. We missed that. Gary through, down on the inside line, through turn 7, and then through turn 8 and 9, through the chicane Nord. And Gary is through, but Alonso's going to have a crack back at him. Running up the hill, but Gary pulls away, and he remains in P2 for now. 3-second time penalty, though. Tionis and Cam are side by side. Oh, and Cam nearly cuts across on Tionis. I think Tionis was being a little bit brave there, if I've got to be honest, trying to go for an inside gap that was going to be cutting off right at the pass. And Cam stays in P6 for now. Could have ended in tears, though, that.
Yep, and there is one gap that we need to keep our eyes on.
Oh, Tionis, sorry! It's round the outside of Cam. Cam had a really poor exit. And now Tionis on the inside line. Can he do what Jekyll did earlier on, I think it was? But Tionis really close to the back of Cam, and they run down the straight once again. Lap 26 out of 27, penultimate lap of the race. Here, out on track, Tionis not close enough to the back of Cam this time. But driving standards might need to be looked at. Certainly the start will be looked at for sure. Trippy Jeff has picked up another 3-second time penalty. Tionis there in 7th, Cam in 6th, but Jekyll running away with this one at this stage.
And yeah, as I was going to say, there is one gap we need to keep an eye on, is the gap between Gary and Zwadema. Because only 6 attempts needed for Gary to get that gap above the 3 seconds he needs to keep a hold of this podium.
Gap is 1.8 seconds, I believe. Looking at doing my fast maths. Tionis down the inside. Oh, there's contact between Tionis and Cam. Tionis goes for the move. He nearly rejoins in front of Matt Tibos. Luckily, he didn't spin right into the face of him. Driving standards, I've got to be honest, do need to improve for next week here in Division 2. Around a track like France especially, but Still, we've got Britain next week. It's exactly the same, I think, in my opinion. J. Cole leads the way from Gary in second, Alonso in third, but Dema is still on the back of Seb. But yeah, coming onto that gap is about 2 seconds now for Gary. So he is pulling away. He's got a little bit of clear air. But Zwadema, crucially, is behind the driver who's on a set of hard compound of tyres. So surely you would imagine Zwadema will get the move done.
Yeah, it's just about how long it's going to take for him to get that move.
Uh-oh. Ah! Not sure what has gone on. Oh, that is unbelievable. That is absolutely brilliant. So, we're on the final lap of the race, and yeah. The game has decided to call a session to the end, really, there. Not really sure what happened, and I don't know what happened. It's as simple as that. We're still live, I'm glad to report. Not really sure what's just happened there. Answers on a postcard, please. Division 3 are on to the final lap of the race there. It is Martin Belt who leads. Hero currently in second. And I honestly do not know what happened there. GG Codemasters, exactly. GG Codemasters. This game is supposed to be esports ready, but it is not. I hope Mike is still in that session, by the way. I am going to rejoin briefly the party to see if we can get him back and see if he is still there, and if he's still, crucially, within the lobby. But I cannot connect up to the party due to a network error, apparently, so this is going fantastically well. Oh. Really unsure what's going on, if I've got to be honest. We're still live. Yeah. Really unsure what has happened. I guess we'll end it here. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the end of the race. Don't know if everyone left the session. I don't know what's going on. But tune in, hopefully tomorrow night, where we do have a better connection. And hopefully we will see some great racing for Division 4 and Division 5. Of course, Graham Chaplin, Callboy, taking you through the action for Division 4 tomorrow night. Division 5, myself and Daniel Hoggard are taking you through that one. The lobby sadly glitched. It might have been because possibly Sway was hosting, PS5 hosting a PS4 lobby, essentially. The teething problems of the new console coming out, of course. But I will leave you here. Thank you so much for watching tonight. I honestly do not know what happened at all. For myself and for Mike, goodbye.